All right, so today is going to be a little bit of fun and a little bit of information, and it's also going to be hopefully much shorter than last week. I'm aiming for 30 minutes or less here. So that's what we're going to work towards. Let me get my objectives here. So today we are going to do two things. We are going to, well, two things with other things inside of them. We're going to do a philosophical chairs question. It's a pretty heavy one, actually, I think. We'll see what you guys think about it. And then we will talk about parent-teacher conferences, which is something new this year that we're going to try. And it's going to be something led by you, right? There's multiple options. We're going to review star scores here, what they actually mean, why you should see what you see in your star scores, and we're going to talk about the progress report reflection itself. So, first part of this, here is our statement. Actually, before I even show the statement, which some of you might have already read it because you're speed readers, can somebody in the chat explain to those of us who are new to AVID what philosophical chairs is and how it works in our AVID class? And actually, I'm probably about to have to yell at my dog. Kendrick! He's eating a wrapper, and I can't tell what it is. He looks very guilty. Okay, so someone in the chat, we are waiting to hear about what philosophical chairs is and how it works. Okay, sorry about that. I had to yell at my furry animal. Okay, it's where we answer a question as a group. Basically, there's a deep thinking question that we respond to, and then we talk about it. We take turns talking about a question, and then sometimes we all agree or we all debate. Good. So this question, I want you to really think about human nature here. And not only that, but don't immediately answer. I want you to take a second to think about this one before you answer. I'm hoping this will be a little bit of a debated topic, but I'm not 100% sure because I can never predict how you guys will react. So here's our statement. Everything we do is mainly for ourselves, and that is true for everyone. So you probably immediately had a thought like yes or no, right? That's fine. Internalize that for a second. Think about the statement. Think about examples. And then what you're going to do is you're going to formulate an answer in the chat by typing agree or disagree, and you're going to explain why. Try to make your explanation convincing. You may also speak out loud if you'd like. I like Colin's answer here. I think it's true for the majority of people, but some people live their lives selflessly. Sure. Right? Could you, or maybe someone else, think of an example of a person maybe that you know or that everyone knows who we would think lives selfishly? Or selflessly, excuse me, not selfishly. That's the opposite. Joelle says, I don't agree because the term everything is a lot to handle. People who do things anonymously and don't expect anything back are not like that. The Pope? Yeah, well, let's hope the Pope is living selflessly, right? We're glad you're here, Ben. I don't think it's true for everyone, but there are definitely some people that are a little self-centered and do everything for themselves, but there are a lot of people that put other people before themselves. Okay. So it seems like we have some agreement and some disagreement. Yeah, that's the hope, that the Pope is actually a good person, right? It's hard to know. Even something like you may be thinking, well, what about my parents, right? My parents had me, And they have hopefully dedicated a lot of their lives to helping you grow into an adult, right? But are they doing that for you, or are they doing that for themselves? You're a Dr. Seuss singing all these rhymes? Oh, yeah. All right. Isaiah says, agree for the most part, since we all have to take care of ourselves because we can't rely on others to take care of us. Interesting. Willa says, I disagree because at least for me, I don't feel like as though it's right to do everything for yourself. I rather put most people first, depending on the situation. Well, sure. But what about, you guys know I like to play devil's advocate sometimes. What about in a life-threatening situation, right? Let's say that your house is burning down. Are you first thinking about yourself, or are you trying to save other people? Georgia says it's the classic, what would you save from a fire? Exactly, right? I don't know, at least for me personally, I'm like, ooh, I would try to grab my computer, my dog, right? My husband, if he wasn't getting out already. And Colin, I like that you're breaking down the statement here, because you're right. Everything makes this a hard statement to agree with, right? Because is it really everything, right? Is it everyone, right? These are big generalizations. So it does maybe make you change your mind because of the way it's worded. Joelle says, firefighters, my family. Yeah, first thought would be to get out. Yeah, right? You first think about yourself in every situation. I'm sorry, but it's true. Then you might think about other people, and depending on your, personality and the way that you operate, you may or may not act on yourself first versus other people, right? You would save your house, okay. Marvian says, depends. I like that, not sure. I do not think it is like this because everything is too much. Some people may do this, but not nearly all. We may do some things only for ourselves, but a majority will do for others, right? I bet a lot of you are thinking, I'm in school mostly for other people, right? Some of you might be in school for yourself. Isabella says, I agree because we need to do things for ourselves to survive and be able to enjoy life. Even if you are living selflessly, there are benefits to giving so much to others. It can feel self-rewarding. Yes, this is what I was trying to get at. Thank you for bringing this up, right? When you do nice things for other people, it makes you feel good. So really, you could argue that you are doing that stuff to feel good, right? Not everything is for you, right? But it kind of is because, again, you're feeling or analyzing it. You guys are typing a lot. I'm trying to catch up. Sorry. Jonathan just says sick. Not sure what that's in reference to, but we'll go with it. I think your survival instinct would kick in and you try to get yourself out first. But once you're out, the guilt might kick in and you'd want to help other people. You and your mom just talked about this yesterday. Yeah, you would make sure she was okay first. Think about when you get on an airplane and they tell you about the masks, right? They're like, put your mask on first, then help other people. Because then you could be dying while you're trying to help someone else, right? You agree because when you think about it, you usually try to benefit yourself because that is our nature. In my opinion, I think that you should try to make yourself happy. And Brendan, I think an interesting sub-point to your point here is just because you are happy and doing something for yourself doesn't necessarily mean that it's like at the expense of other people, right? We're not saying that you're going around and like destroying people's lives so that you can do something. You use the wrong your, it happens. Humans suck. We all kind of have kind of narcissistic tendencies. We are animals, it is true. There's a balance. You'll be right back, okay. Humans are reactors to their emotions, which makes them act instead of merely observing. Oh, that's an interesting thought there, Jonathan, that we react rather than sort of analyzing. I don't know, do other people find that's true for them? Have you guys ever been in a really intense, like, scary situation, a fire, a really bad storm, some kind of intense situation where, like, you need to be saving people or doing something? I know the first time that I was in a situation like that, I was an observer. I didn't know what to do. I just was like, and then afterwards I was like, whoa, why was I just doing that? I could have been doing all these things. Yeah, how is survival instinct sad? I think that's a good point, right? People are feeling guilty for being selfish, which in some ways maybe, but again, it's not at the expense of other people necessarily. If you only try and make yourself happy, what happens to the people who are in a place or position where they can't be happy, like helping people who are depressed? You're not doing that for yourself because in the first place, you wouldn't wish that upon someone just to make yourself feel better. Can't help people when you're dead. Very true. Generalizing, yes. My brother almost died to a pit bull, and the first thought was to call for help. Okay, good, right? So again, of course you're calling for help when you see something like that. That's amazing. I was sort of like, my situation was we had a tree come through my house, and my whole house was like falling down, essentially. And everyone in my family was sort of just like staring at each other like, what is happening? I wonder if our instinct is to save ourselves first because we are told to do so. You know what? This kind of brings us back to what we were mentioning last week, right? Where do these natural tendencies come from? Are they inherent in your genes, your DNA? Maybe you can't even change them. Or are they something that you've just heard your entire life, so you think that's the thing to do? Right? That is a great question, and it is a question that's pretty hard to answer, right? Is human nature caused by society, or is it an internal thing? In fact, maybe that's the question that I should have asked. Nature or nurture? Right? Every choice we make is directed by emotion, fear, or feeling of joy. Yeah, I agree, Jonathan. Emotions play a huge role in decisions, right? And sometimes that's a bad thing. It's like a fight or flight or freeze response. No, it's because our body makes us save ourselves because it wants to live. Yeah, exactly. If you were an ancient human walking around looking for some stuff to eat and a lion came after you, yeah, you would definitely save yourself, right? Fight, flight, or fright. Yeah, freeze kind of is like a fright, right? Where you're sort of like, I don't know what to do here. I agree. I think it does sound better than freeze. Maybe we'll make that, we'll catch that on. Fight, flight, or fright. If you were tackled by a lion, every bone in your body would be broken. Yeah, I mean, if the lion wanted to kill you, it would. Although if you had a weapon, right, maybe you could spear the lion. Kind of depends on what human time we're talking about here. Were we using tools well? Or were we running into a cave and hoping that the lion didn't come in there, right? But the reason I picked this quick right, not quick right, it kind of is a quick right almost though. This philosophical chair's topic is because I wanted you guys to start thinking. We're going to be talking a little bit in the next few quick rights and the next few philosophical chair things that we do in virtual sessions. We are going to be talking about these things. All the stuff you think and know, where does it come from, right? How do you act? Is it because you think you have to do it that way? Is it because you're being told internally to do it that way? Yes, your brain, but I'm talking about deeper than that, more abstractly. Are you making decisions because that's what everybody else has told you to do? Or are you making decisions because you internally want to do that? And also, is that coming from your personality or is that coming from outside factors, right? It's pretty hard to actually distinguish all that stuff. Almost impossible, I'd say. Philosophical writers try to do that all the time and fail. But as we go through this, I want you to be thinking about ethics. What is right? What is wrong? How you determine that, right? And what your own spin on that is. You may think something is right that someone else doesn't, but that doesn't necessarily make them wrong. So that's kind of where we're going with this. There may be more than one correct or right way to do something, right? Saving yourself first, some people might frown upon that and say, oh, you didn't care about the children or the whatever. Well, how are you going to do that if you're dead, right? As people pointed out, or if you're taken advantage of because you weren't caring for yourself. So every situation, you can kind of look at it in both a negative and a positive light, depending. All right, do we have any final thoughts on this topic? It seems like most of us seemed to agree that this was too broad in general, that everything and everyone made this statement untrue. Although it did seem that there was a couple people who thought maybe everything you do is for yourself, but that's not a bad thing. So hopefully that kind of sums up where you were. If you were late, you probably missed the beginning of this, philosophical chairs, but you can read the statement, right? And you probably were able to kind of catch up. Oh, you're typing. Okay, I'll wait. If anybody has any final thoughts on this, or, wants to try to tackle these deep philosophical questions, right? Why are you the way that you are? So complicated. We are going to switch gears here into STAR testing, parent-teacher conferences, etc. So here, I will go back to whatever Brendan says in the chat once he finishes typing here. But I actually took somebody from the class's STAR scores and blurred out their name, and we're going to look at them so that we can, which I hope I got the name in every spot that it was, so that we can talk about when you're looking at your STAR testing page, what it actually means. Jonathan. Oh my. Okay. Brendan has come in, so we're about to talk about STAR, but before we do, an example would be like if you're a medic and you're trying to revive someone, but there's a flame soldier, would you revive the man and possibly die, get him killed, or run and stay safe? Actually, that's a perfect example, right? War and really extreme disasters, those are the times when these kinds of things come up, right? Where you're actually like, oh, wait a second, this is a different situation. This is a different time. I do have to think about myself, right? So that's a great example. Okay, so when you got your STAR report, right, it looked something like this. This was the reading one. The reading one has way more things. And I know some of you guys, Colin's bringing us into the video game chat. I know. Some of you guys looked at your STAR scores and you're like, I totally understand this is not complicated. I'm not going to touch on it extensively. I just wanted to mention a few important parts, right? The grade equivalent, the GE, is predicting which grade level you are currently reading at, right? Now, again, is this 100% accurate, perfect representation of your abilities? No, right? In fact, the person whose test this is, I know that they can read on a much higher grade level than that, which most likely means that they probably didn't try their hardest on this test because, I mean, it's a STAR test and you were like, clickety click, click, right? But that's a good indication, right? Which grade are you in? You should be in 10th grade. So if you're reading below your own grade level, the best thing you can do to improve your reading ability is, you won't believe it, to practice reading. Read anything. Any reading is helpful. Even if you're reading about video games or you're reading about something you're interested in, right? That's totally fine. Your instructional reading level, again, that's kind of related. That's like what a teacher should be giving you information at that level. And good, I'm glad that Brendan is redirecting you guys to talk about this after. And your percentile is another important number here. This tells you where you fell based on your other classmates. So this person's score was 14% higher, or higher than 14% of students. Yeah, so Willa, that is exactly why that would have impacted you, right? Because then you were being compared to 11th graders instead of 10th graders. So this test not only measures your ability, right, but then it compares you to everybody else in your grade. Then it actually breaks down what you're good at, right? Were you good at key ideas, craft and structure, integration of knowledge, vocabulary, right? So then you can kind of see maybe areas that you personally could improve on. It's kind of hard to tell from these because, I mean, key ideas and details is super big. Oh, I have a math example and we're about to look at it, right? So you guys are going to be showing your STAR scores to your parents and talking about them, which is why we're talking about them right now, because I would hate for you to open it and go, yeah, I got a 700 on my STAR. And then your parent or guardian is going to go, what does that mean? And you're going to go, I don't know, right? That would be Kobe's conference. I can predict it right now. So no, I want you to know what it means so that you can explain it. Now, do you have to explain every single number? No. What I would do is if I was talking to my parent, I would talk about the grade equivalent. I would talk about my percentile, right? And maybe I would point out something that I'm trying to improve on. Like, hey, I'm noticing that I got kind of low scores on key ideas and details. I think I'm going to work on picking out a key idea, right? And guess what? We do that in this class. So you're going to get better at it. Again, if you're worried about your score, like you're like, oh no, I'm not doing as well as I would want. Read. Just read. That's it. Read. Read more. Okay, so a math example. I do have, let's see. I can even click. No, not Safari. Oh, you guys don't even know my struggle with Zoom. I have so many tabs open just from Zoom alone that, all right, we'll do it like this. Is this math? Nope, it's English. That I can't click on stuff because it's in my way. It's very frustrating. Okay, so this is still English. Wow, did I only open English twice? Could have happened. Here we go. This one's math. Okay, so when you look at your math score, right, same thing. Again, this colorful picture up here, right, is telling you like green means good, right? Red means bad. Yellow means watch. Blue means really it means intervention on watch. But if you're in yellow or blue, that means that you're close. Again, you have the same kind of numbers. You have your scaled score. Probably not that important because it's 795. What does that mean? Probably nothing, right? But you do want to look at your percentile rank and your grade equivalent. So this particular person, their math grade level is 8.1, which really means 8th grade in 1 month. And their percentile rank is that they did better than 44% of students. Those students are you guys, right? That's your peers. Again, you could come down here and look at different topics and see the higher the number, that means the more you got right. So this person got the lowest number of questions correct about congruence. So maybe that's something that you want to be paying attention to this year because that was something that you didn't understand as well. And or circles, personal least favorite shape. Again, it also tells you how long you took on the test. So if you took 2 minutes on the test, well, you probably didn't get a good score. Right? So again, when you talk to your parents about this, you don't want to say every single detail. You want to focus on a couple things. So make sure you actually look at your STAR scores and decide, are you going to talk about percentile rank? Are you going to talk about grade equivalent? Are you going to mention something that you're working on this year? Blah, blah, blah. Doesn't need to be like the most detailed thing ever, but we want to make sure that you actually know what this test is, right? Because otherwise it doesn't matter if you're taking it, if you're not looking at it and using it to help inform you of what you should be doing in your education. So, parent-teacher conference, you are going to have 2 options, right? Because this isn't a regular school, of course. We're pretty abnormal at MIWA. You have 2 options here. In fact, let me get the page up of what the actual assignment looks like for you guys. Yeah, not sadly, you mean happily, right? You should pride yourself on being weird, at least I do. All right, so parent-teacher conferences, this needs to happen by November 2nd. Today is November. Today is October 17th. So that gives you almost 2 weeks to do this. You have 2 choices, option 1 or option 2. Option 1 is a 10-minute conference where I am there. You can sign up for times. I made a you can book me. So you can go, look at the times that I'm available. It's just 10 minutes. That's it. Right? So let's say that on the 29th, you want to sign up for 1 p.m., right? You're just going to click that and type in some information, and then you will show up to this Zoom link at 1 p.m. with your parent or guardian, and we will do the conference. Now, just because I'm there doesn't mean I'm actually not going to be doing that much. You're going to be doing most of the talking, and then your parent will be answering questions. This is a good option for those of you who are not happy with your progress report grades. Type a 1 in the chat if you don't think you're going to be happy with your progress report grades. Okay, right? A lot of people passed AVID, which I'm really happy about. We had a 75% pass rate in this class, which is great. Again, Isabella pointing out, right? You guys might be particularly harsh on yourselves. If you passed all your classes, you are doing better than a lot of people. Okay, so celebrate those things. So again, what if your progress reports were bad and now they're better? Well, then option 1 is a perfect choice for you because I can pull up your grades in Canvas, right, of what they are now, and then I can help you, you know, talk to your parent about it and look how much they've improved, right? Georgia had a C in this class, now she has an A because she turned in all these things, blah, blah, blah. Right, again, if you have me for science, I can also talk about your science stuff specifically. Isaiah, that is a great question. You didn't have progress report grades, right, because you had just started, so no. You are not going to have to do this. You can sign up for a time if you'd like, just to, you know, have a conversation about how it's going for you. But I will not require you to do this because you don't have a progress report grade yet. Everybody else, it's required. Jonathan, I know you were thinking, is it optional? It is not. Okay, so let's say, no, you have to. A month is plenty of time. So there's a guide that I created for you. You don't have to read this exactly, right? But if you're nervous about what you're going to do to lead the conference, here's a general flow. You introduce, you say, oh, this is my mom, Rhonda. This is my teacher, Mr. Asai, and we're going to talk about my grades and my star scores. Then I would open my star scores, and I would say, I take these tests. Here's what they look like. Here's what they mean. Right? Again, focus on like 1 or 2 things. Your parent might ask you a bunch of questions. Hopefully you're there with me, and I'll just answer them for you. Then you're going to talk about your progress report grades, right? I'm really proud of this class. I did this. I'm not proud of this class. I'm fixing it, blah, 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 blah. Discuss your goals, right? What are your academic goals and how do they relate to your progress report? Are you attending virtual sessions for the class? Maybe you want to do that. Maybe that's a goal. Maybe a goal is to turn all of your stuff in on time. Maybe a goal is to raise your grade a letter grade. Maybe your goal is to pass, right? All of those are acceptable goals. It does not have to be, you know, I want all A's. If that's not a realistic goal for you, don't pick that as a goal. How long does it have to be? Up to 10 minutes, right? It could be less than that. 2 minutes might be a little fast because I've already done more than 2 minutes and I haven't even said that much. And then next steps, right? I will be documenting next steps. For example, maybe you need to come on campus. Maybe you need to reach out to a teacher. Maybe you need to have another meeting with me because we need to talk about organization or something, right? So the next steps will be something that we're going to do together, or maybe you're going to do by yourself to help you reach your goals. This is going to be quick. 10 minutes is going to go by really fast, right? It's not meant to be a time where we're going to go in depth on each topic. It's just to really kind of keep your parent in the loop. And also, it's a really good way for me to see that you know what's going on, right? Really, this is a test for you. Do you understand your SCAR scores? Your SCAR scores. Can't even speak. Your STAR scores. And or do you have a plan for how you're going to maintain or improve your grades? Right? If you have those 2 things, then you're good to go. Option 2 is for people who can't make any of the times that I offered. I tried to do some morning, some afternoon, some evening. But let's say that you can't go to any of those times and your parent can't go to any of those times. Great. You're going to just record a video with them doing this. And you won't have me there to support you, right? But of course, I could always call or email your parent after if they have a specific question that you didn't know. That can be, I mean, this is not professional videoing, right? It could be on your phone and it's just you and your parent sitting there, you know, and you going through the steps. So now that you've heard the two options, which option do you think is going to be better for you? Option 1, I'm involved. Option 2, you independently with your parent. Type into the chat which one you think. Yeah, because you're scared, that's fine, right? I'm there to support you. Even if you're failing all of your classes, I will try my hardest to say at least one nice thing about you, right? Unless you've never come to a virtual session or done anything in the class, then it's going to be a little hard for me. So make sure, right, that you are going to be proud of improvement or something if you did fail a lot of stuff. Show that you're trying here. A lot of people are saying 1, good. A couple people saying 2, that's totally fine, right? Whichever one you pick is great. If you are picking option 1, I did include the link here for my You Can Book Me. I hate how this thing looks because it wouldn't let me like get rid of the times that I wasn't doing it. So there's a bunch of grayed out times. But the unfortunate thing is that next Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I'm going to be at a conference where I will not be available. So this week, you could try to sign up this week if you want. Otherwise, next Monday, I have some afternoon times available. And then the following week, I have a bunch of times available. Again, it's only 10 minutes, so it's not going to be crazy. Your parent does not have to be in the same room as you. They can be elsewhere, and you can provide them with the Zoom link, right? Maybe make sure they understand how to use Zoom because you don't want them to get hung up on that, right? But come and see if there's a time that works for you that you could do with me. And if not, and you really want to meet with me, email me and we can figure something out. So in this assignment, in fact, I'm just going to send you guys a link to the Parent-Teacher Conference Round 1 assignment. That is going to have the You Can Book Me link where you can sign up. And it's going to have a link to the guide in case you would like additional support on what you're going to talk about. And you need to do this by November 2nd, so you have quite a bit of time, right? There's no reason that you have to do it today. They mailed your progress reports. And if you want on-campus Destiny, send me an email because I'm only on campus on Tuesdays, but I do have a little bit of time I could try to squeeze in on a Tuesday if you'd like. Okay, so just send me an email. So what do you turn in for the assignment? Well, if you're recording a video, you're going to turn in your video. If you're doing option 1 with me, I'm just going to go in while we're having the conference and put in notice 200-point assignment. If you do parent-teacher conferences, you're pretty much guaranteed to pass AVID. Just saying. If you don't do it, it's going to impact your grade, but you can still pass. You'll just have to do everything. You resubmitted your STAR test scores, okay? Yeah, so this is also a time where if you didn't take STAR, which some people didn't, even though they were supposed to, that's going to look embarrassing when we have to explain to your parent why you didn't take STAR, right? And one of your next steps will probably be to take STAR next time they are supposed to take STAR, right? The simplest of things. So be thinking right now about this. If you're concerned, right, or you're nervous about this, or you have ideas or whatever, yes, Isaiah, that's exactly what's going to happen for you. Please email me, right? You don't have to say anything in the chat, especially if it's like a personal thing for you, but right, let's say that you think your parent doesn't support you or something like that, right, and you want to talk about it before, please. We will talk about it. All right. So yeah, so you're basically only turning something in for this if you are creating a video. If you are meeting with me, I will manually input a grade for you, and you could turn in, I was there with you at this time or whatever. Just like a DBA kind of for other classes. Okay, final thing that I wanted to know from you guys is yesterday we were talking as teachers about the virtual sessions and how there's so many of them, and some of them are long. Usually my classes are. And we were wondering, do you guys feel like the virtual sessions are preventing you from getting work done in your classes, like on a general level, right? Not just one class maybe, but is going to the virtual sessions, you know, preventing you from getting work done? Okay, I see a few yeses, some sometimes, a kinda in math sometimes. Okay, interesting. Yeah, because we were just wondering, we were thinking that like some people on a certain day will have 3 virtual sessions, right? That's 3 hours of virtual session. That's a lot. Other classes, maybe you do assignments in the virtual session. For math, it's not usually super on topic. Okay. Yeah, okay, Georgia, perfect. You're a great example of this. Wednesdays you have 3. Yeah, so when are you getting work? Okay, so even though you may enjoy them, they are taking a lot of time out of your day. Okay. All right, good to know, guys. Thanks. Yeah, we're kind of working on if we're gonna maybe make them shorter or what's kind of gonna happen, because we know that's something that people are attending virtual sessions, but then not turning in any work, right? Which is like confusing a little bit. Yeah. So Wednesdays apparently seem especially bad for people. Which, man, that sucks, because then you have to come to this session at the very end where I just ramble on and on about my feelings. Okay, so yeah, so that's good. That's helpful feedback. You know, we're always trying to improve, so working on that stuff. Does anybody have a question about parent-teacher conferences? You signed up for a conference? Great. AVID is the best virtual session, don't worry. Okay, well, you know, might not be the case for others. Make sure you sign up for a time if you are taking option 1. If you are not taking option 1, make sure you plan a time with your parent that you can do a video. Oh, you don't need 200 points. We'll see. If you're at 58% at the end of the semester, Jonathan, I will not round up. Just for you. All right, AVID's the best mostly, but yeah, it still does take up time, right? And that's the thing. Even if you're enjoying it, look, 40 minutes is gone right now. Up to 300 points, yeah. Okay, so email me if you have questions or concerns, right? Especially if you're feeling anxious or worried about this. This conference is meant to be helpful for you, right? And motivate you. So if you are feeling like it's not going to be doing that, please let me know and we can talk about it in advance. Otherwise, look at that. I kept it under 40 minutes, 39 minutes. Well, it's not going to help you maybe because then your parent might actually know how you're doing in school. Maybe. But they should know, right? Yeah, right. Well, parents like this. Honestly, a 10-minute talk with a teacher, suddenly your parent's like, oh, yay, like you're doing great. It's fine. Or they're like, oh, you're improving and your teacher's helping you, right? It makes them feel better. You know, it's one of those things where parent, it's all about the parent here. They're going to feel happy. Oh, she was being sarcastic. Hey, some parents really like it. Your mom is super busy and she doesn't want to do this. Well, then maybe you should do the video option, Colin. Because that could maybe be a little faster and then you could do it on a time that works for her. All right. So, yeah, it is mandatory. But you could still do option 2, which gives you a lot more freedom. All right. I will talk to you guys. Oh, actually, an announcement, and then we will leave. Next Wednesday, we have no virtual session. That's my gift to you, sort of. No, I'll be at a conference, so I won't be able to hold the virtual session. If you look in the modules in Canvas, it does say that there is no virtual session. There is a reflection for you to do, which I haven't published it yet, but you're going to reflect on your progress report. It's going to be really easy. It'll take you 5 seconds. So next week, use this time to get work done instead of a virtual session. We will resume our regular virtual sessions on October 31st. So otherwise, I won't talk to you guys until the 31st, live at least, but please email me if you have a question or concern. And otherwise, I will see you guys on Halloween.